Give me a minute.
Why don't you get with the program and stop being a little bitch?
I would appreciate it if you'd be a little more prepared for these sorts of things, David. Oh my God, look at this. Now we've lost him altogether.
Signs on, signs off, can't figure out how to use technology. My children are going to be 18 and moved out of the house before you can figure out how to use fucking technology. Then he laughs.
What a disaster.
At his ineptitude.
What a production this has been. My God.
Hey, everybody at Shit Talk Reviews. Thanks for joining us. As always, it's always a pleasure to sit here with my boys, Derek and David, and try and take Dave apart.
What up?
John, what a glorious day, John.
It is. It has been a good day. I won't lie. We're in the nest, right?
Yeah, of course.
We're in the nest. Yeah. It's been a not great week, but today has been a pretty good day.
Today started out rough, but the finale has been very good so far.
Yeah, we had the pleasure. Sorry, Derek. We had the pleasure of a conversation with Eric Morgan, and we're going to be posting that a few days after this goes up. Hopefully this Sunday, the good Lord willing.
What are we talking about today?
So today we are talking about the band Currents and their latest album release called The Death We Seek. I hope you guys like it. This was one of those things I knew the name, and when I was on Spotify, I was looking for some stuff to throw away, and I did come across these guys, and I love them. They got a really nice mix of what they bring to the table. So I'm excited to talk about it with you guys today.
Did either of you guys know Currents prior to this record?
I knew the band name, John, but other than that, it just kind of, Currents. Yeah, I kind of know who they are, but other than that, not really.
Mm-hmm. Derek?
I did not. I did receive it from the label with a press request, and I sent it to you, John, because it sounded very proggy. And we know that your nipples get a little bit hard.
They do
when it comes to prog, and I decided to send it to you. What was interesting is that Dave, who loves Van Halen, decided to pick a prog band to bring to the table. So great curveball. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good find. I really enjoyed the album, but just a little bit about the band. From Fairfield, Connecticut. They formed in 2011. Had some lineup changes, but the current lineup is Brian Will on vocals, Chris Wiseman on lead guitar, Ryan Castalde rhythm guitar, Matt Young on drums, and Christian Pagularin on bass. This is the third album. Their first one came out in 2017. The follow-up to that was in 2020, The Way It Ends. And here we are today talking about The Death We Seek. What came at me originally, and what really was the components of the band. They were heavy when they needed to be. They were subtle at other points in the song when they needed to be. At times I heard, maybe a few things that could be commercial and hear on the radio, the arrangements and all that stuff. And I'm sure we'll get into this, but that, said, hey, you know what? I bet you Derek and John are going to like this.
Can we just take a hot second, and acknowledge the font of Currents information that David has?
Can you see that?
No, I can't see it, but you just like went ripping down this incredibly comprehensive list. I feel I grew up with the guys.
Yeah, right. Listen, there's one thing I do. Even if you guys throw a band at me that I never heard of in my life, I always do my research. I have respect for all the bands we talked about. And it would be disrespectful if I came on these podcasts and didn't know what I was talking about. And so that I take pride in that.
Well, the amount of respect that you show is frankly refreshing, because I don't see it any other time. So.
But yeah, let's get into it. I don't know John, why don't you start?
I'll be honest, since we've agreed that we're in the nest here. This week has been a fairly shitty week. Now, I've been listening to this record a lot, as I do all the records we talk about. And I had this moment of clarity hit me earlier this morning. And I think my experience with this record all week, even though, yes, the album has dynamics and goes, it's got its calm sections, clean sections, and then, really aggro parts where it comes at you like a freight train.
Yeah.
So the album definitely has dynamics, but over the course of the week while listening to the record, it kind of felt like I opened up a fire hose full blast at my face. But I listened to it again this morning. Today's been a different kind of day for me. And I had this like revelation. I heard it with totally fresh ears. And there's a tremendous amount that I really like about the record. But my point in all that is to say that the headspace that you're in when you listen to stuff or watch a movie or have an experience can totally skew how you receive that information. And that is what happened to me with this record. And that's not to say I didn't like the record. I liked it quite a bit, but I heard it through different ears today and it got even better.
Interesting. Very nice.
Yeah, it seemed a lot more nuanced to me today than it did over the weekend through Thursday, whatever. So it was just one of those eye-opening things and a reminder that
Very nice.
that things can change the way you take information in.
On that front, I had a similar experience. Max Cavalera put out 2 reissues of early Sepultura work last week that I've been banging on. I love it. I love Max. And so I've been listening to that a lot. And then Fugitive from Texas, which has Blake Ibanez from Power Trip in the band. They put out 2 killer tracks. And so I've been listening to that. And so when I finally got time to sit down and listen to this and really, really listen to it, I heard it with a different view because I made sure that I wasn't thinking about Sepultura, Max Cavalera, Conspiracy, and then Fugitive, which is, these bands are completely different than what Currents is and who Currents is. But once I was able to do that, I did hear them for what they were. Immediately, my first thought is a lot of the synth sound in the across the album reminds me of the early Fear Factory stuff. Musically, they're nothing like Fear Factory. They're very Meshuggah-esque with their, with a lot of their heavier parts. But you're gonna laugh at me. I heard with Brian Willie, I heard 2 very distinct voices. Benjamin Bumley from Breaking Benjamin. I heard his clear channel. And then obviously, and for me, this was obvious, was Anders Frieden from In Flames. This band for me was a much heavier Breaking Benjamin with, some Anders in there mixed in along with with Benjamin. It's a weird listen, in the end of the day. It's not as proggy. It's got a prog metal sound to it. It's produced like a prog metal record, but it is not necessarily from a structure standpoint. The clear channel parts, the clear singing parts, the big choruses are much more of a mainstream rock sound or a melodic In Flames, if you will.
I felt the same way. And that's why I said before, some of this stuff could be, it almost sounded like a commercial pop song on the radio. But you're right, Derek. There's so many songs on this album, just like Living in Tragedy, just starts out a crazy opening to the song. The guitar is insane. And then it takes another spin where it gets soft. It just took a tone where it went down and then picks back up. The whole album kind of felt like that for me, but it had a really good flow from beginning to end. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Dave. I think the opening track, The Death We Seek, comes out really hard. It's got some flow to it. The last 2 tracks, Remember Me and Guide Us Home, I think were great album closers too. The track layout was very well thought out. And I'll jump ahead to a standout. Living in Tragedy was one of the ones that kind of leapt off the album at me. I think that's a great song.
I agree, John.
Again, I love the production tricks and that sort of stuff. And I like how that song filters in with a, filter sweep. Then the song hits, then they kind of drop it back out. And there's that pseudo, like almost second intro with the synths. A great track, definitely a standout for me.
The Remember Me is definitely on my list. I love the way it opened up. It was subtle to that explosive guitar sound, and I thought the vocal range in that song was incredible. That to me was a definitely standout track for sure.
That was
Also.
actually, that was one of my other standouts too. I love the high register, dissonant chords, and some phenomenal guitar playing in this band. I don't know.
No question.
Which, if Ryan or Chris is one plays more lead than the other, or rhythm, to me, it doesn't matter, because a good rhythm player is every bit as good, if not more important, than lead players. But both of these guys are phenomenal players, and they put together some pretty ripping music.
The song Over and Over, the guitar playing on that song is absolutely insane. The arrangement, the tones, the heavy thunderous guitar, loved it. So this
breakdown in that song. Great breakdown.
Can I ask a question? When I see Dave moving his hands around, it sounds like there's like anal beads rattling. Do you have anal beads?
No,
listen, prayer beads?
Italians talk with their hands. You know what I mean?
What is that rattling sound that I hear?
Do Italians talk with anal beads?
Yeah.
Come on.
Why are you coming to this? This is a metal review thing. It's not a sex thing. Why do you bring your anal beads?
We are on Zoom again today. We're not all together. So getting to look at Derek and the three people who might watch this on YouTube, getting to see Derek, he kind of looks like a ghost. There's a little Casper vibe.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like Demi Moore should be in the corner throwing a pot or something.
Right. He should be making.
He should be behind her. Yeah.
He should be doing pottery right now.
What are you drinking there, Derek? What is that?
Oh, I actually made for this call Country Time lemonade.
Oh, good man.
But it is inside of a Hooters Wingman Weekend Cup. So if Hooters would like to sponsor us and Dave's anal beads, we would love to have Hooters involved.
Excellent.
Yeah. You know what? I'll allow Country Time in a Hooters cup all day long. They're two American products. And again, not just good in the summertime, good all year long.
Good all year round.
Cheers to that.
Derek, what was your favorite track on this album?
Living in Tragedy. I thought it was very, very catchy.
All three of us agree on that one, huh?
Yeah, it was. It had a really nice earworm.
John, you said you liked it.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did.
I'm kidding. I did. I just want to annoy.
What was interesting again, and it was so alone for me. It sounded, and again, I don't know why. Maybe it's a mental block. All I heard was "We Are Not Alone" by Breaking Benjamin in that song. Even the structure of the chorus. But look, I'm trying not to let what I hear kind of ruin my viewpoint, because I love the guitar work on this this album. The guitar riffs are great. It's very very heavy. When I was allowed to actually listen to it driving to and from Naples this week, I really liked it, and I was going 90 to it. So I really like the music on the record. I struggled with the vocal choices and how close they are to other singers. And again, look, everybody's fishing from the same, into the same waters and eating the same fish and whatever you want to say. But it just sounded so familiar to me, maybe too familiar. And I had a hard time getting over that.
That's fair.
No, I like the record. I'm not, I'll just get right to it. I enjoyed the record. Currents is, that band and the genre that they live in, the metalcore gent flavor is in my wheelhouse. I love it.
Did any of you guys go back and listen to their old stuff? Because this one was a little different.
Yeah, I know.
Heavier.
I've heard some of their older material. I don't know it, but I've heard it, and it felt at home. So I knew I was going to enjoy it before I heard or studied this record, rather.
Yeah, I went back and listened to their previous stuff, and this one was, to me, it was more heavier, more metal, but I enjoyed it.
Great players in this band, though, and Brian can sing. I think the fact that he brings those cleans along with the the growls and screams, is evidence of that. I like a little melodic singing,
Me too.
maybe not full on boy band all the time, at least not as much as Derek likes that, but but I like some melodic vibe in there, and Currents brings it. They're a nice balance of just crusher, heavy, nasty shit and clean, like I said, where there's gives you a chance to breathe and relax a little bit before the train backs up over you again.
Yeah, I agree, John. The arrangements were good. I mean, from the hard, heavy lyrics to the melodic, it flowed for me. It was in a lot of the songs too. It wasn't just one or two. Most of it was that way. But again, the way it worked out.
Well, do we
wanna
jump ahead and
grade this?
score this? Yeah.
Derek, go first. He never goes first, ever.
I never do, because you're a narcissist and you always have to go first.
That's not true.
You're very self-centered, but that's okay.
Says the narcissist. Yeah, it's absolutely true, Dave. I'm sorry.
Look, I brought up Fear Factory. I like them. I brought up Breaking Benjamin. I kind of like them. They have a couple songs here and there. I brought up In Flames. I like them. I brought up Meshuggah. Well, we all like Meshuggah. So with that being said, I'm going to give them a 7.5 because I like all those bands. I heard them mixed in here, and they are incredibly talented. So 7.5 is my score.
Nice.
Good. I solid 8. Like I said, it was an interesting listening experience for me, having that experience where it didn't land. It's not that it didn't land at all. It really felt like an assault at first, but then my week changed, my outlook changed, and I experienced the record differently. But I knew it was a good record, even though it didn't initially grab me and make me jump up and down. But yeah, I'm real pleased with it. I enjoy it. Like I said, solid 8.
Good score. Yeah. Hey, like I said in the beginning.
Well, we're glad you approved, Dave.
That's good score.
Thanks,
so far.
Dave.
Like I said in the beginning, the band brought a lot of components. The arrangements were great. I loved the vocals. The guitar playing was killer. The melodies, the melodics, I liked it all. So I did have a song, Unfamiliar, Remember Me, Living in Tragedy, So Alone were my standout tracks. There was only a few that I didn't particularly care for. But overall, it could range from a 7.5 to an 8, but I'll give it an 8. I think an 8's a good score for this album.
Do I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost or the Unfriendly Ghost? I think it's unfriendly.
It's sort of like a Casper the Marginal Ghost.
Yeah, it's weird.
You look
It's
very
like-
you look very unhealthy.
I have a lot of. Well, thank you for that. I have a lot of dandruff
tasty?
on this side. Yeah, it's weird. Dandruff
Somebody needs to
or cocaine. Look at all the cocaine on my shoulder.
somebody needs to get out the Photoshop machine and put either Demi Moore or, of course, Patrick Swayze behind Derek.
Well, I'm glad you guys liked it. It's good. It's just it's like I said, it's never easy to please you two, but I had a feeling you guys were going to like this because it had a little bit of everything.
Well, it's easy to please us with music. It's just everything else that you bring that's difficult.
Very difficult.
Thank you.
You are literally. It's like working with a Muppet. You're always going around. And
He's
flopping
handsome,
around
though.
and-
It can't be lost that he's a handsome guy.
Thank you, John. You
So
always
a
have
little
my
bit of
back. Thank you.
Well, again, don't get ahead of yourself, but you're not unfortunate looking.
Thank you, John.
Hi-ho, it's David the Annoying Frog.
Hey, listen,
All right.
if it makes you feel good to pick on me, have at it. You know what I mean?
It does. Especially with the week we've all had. Seeing you, it's instantaneous. Like, oh, it's a dartboard.
Wow.
Thank
Love
you,
it.
Derek. Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, next week, we're going to talk about an album that has not yet been released. We are going to talk about Spirit Adrift, Ghost at the Gallows, which is, it's good. Sorry, I can't say that, but I can't say it to you. I can say it to you guys. Plug your ears for a minute to anybody.
Say it
who's
to your
listening.
mom. Say it to your
Good.
mom. She's listening.
My mom and or my sister. It's good. It's good.
Well, you have two sisters. Which sister?
Kate,
Yeah.
Kate's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's our fan.
Yeah. She's my family defacer so far, but we got to get more stickers out to my other sister too. Then, but yeah, so Spirit Adrift, Ghost at the Gallows next week, and what else? Is there anything else we need to do?
I don't think so.
Thank you to Stephanie for sending that along.
Yes, Stephanie.
We
Marlowe.
will.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes, we will. We will do you justice and get you some pre-release press. So thank you,
And a sticker.
and we'll send her a sticker.
All right. Well, as always, it is a, and I got
What
Dave.
the fuck
Really,
was that, Dave?
I'm sorry.
God.
It was the chair.
Was that a fart?
No, it was the
you're
chair.
lying.
Listen,
You're
look, it's the chair, okay?
Unbelievable. This guy's
You know,
just awful.
He's taking us out so we can get on with our weekend. I mean, come on, man.
Incredible.
By the way, it sounds like a fucking elephant when you fart.
Oh my God.
All
No,
right.
wrap
Well,
this up, please.
that is it. You guys have a fantastic next couple of days, and Godspeed.
Rock
Yeah.
on!